Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So while I reported some news that almost suggested that Canelo Alvarez was finally willing to fight some of the best competition, I told you guys in the same note, let's not get our hopes up too high for many reasons. For one, it was a rumor that was started by Mike Coppinger, even though he works with ESPN, but we had already heard so many different stories prior to that news. Once again, before Canelo Alvarez was supposed to fight Caleb Plant, his off and on promoter, Eddie Hearn, he said that Canelo Alvarez wants to fight against Beterbiev and Bivol next, right? We've also heard even Canelo's trainers say a while ago that they would be interested in taking an Andrade or a Charlo fight. That was a long time ago. Way before that, if we're really going back, we heard Oscar De La Hoya, when he was working with Canelo Alvarez, he said in order for Canelo to be great, Canelo will have to fight against the likes of Andrade and Charlo. Shortly after that, Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya, they fell out. Canelo started to call Oscar De La Hoya disloyal, and he no longer works with him. You fast forward to present day, and now once again, Canelo Alvarez's team, they're confirming that those were just rumors, that they still want no parts of Jermall Charlo, even after the Charlo brothers, not just Jermall, but even after the Charlo brothers have been both calling out Canelo Alvarez for years. But Jermall in particular has been calling out Canelo Alvarez for almost 7 years now. Because this report did come from someone working for ESPN, Canelo had me partially thinking, me and the Canelo Alvarez fans, of course, thinking that maybe he was going to fight against Jermall Charlo. That seemed like the logical choice. Because once again, Canelo is receiving an enormous amount of backlash right now for trying to take on the biggest cherry of the year against Makabu. A man, once again, he has 2 losses, 2 knockout losses. This man, he has no speed, he has no boxing ability, he has no chin, he has no defense, he doesn't even have a name. The one thing that he does have, though, is a WBC belt. So Canelo fans, the way you discredit fighters like Andrade and Charlo, you say they're bums, they're garbage, they're overrated, etc., etc. That means you guys should be trashing Canelo Alvarez for wanting to fight fighters like Makabu or even Yildirim, right? We know what time it is. Canelo Alvarez fans are supposed to be in the comment section filling it up when they hear news that Canelo is fighting against Makabu, when Canelo is fighting against another cherry that we know has no chance of beating Canelo Alvarez, right? You know, it's interesting because when this news surfaced and when I reported it, of course, Canelo Alvarez fans, they were all around the internet saying things like, oh yeah, what do you got to say now? See, Canelo's fighting Charlo next, so what are you going to say now? They were saying all of this, right? Just to find out, Canelo says to them, hey, slow down, man. Slow down. I'm not fighting no damn Charlo next. You go fight a damn Charlo. I'm not getting in the ring with him. I'm certainly not doing it next. You'll hear these Canelo fans saying things like, Charlo is overrated. Stop hyping him up. It's you and Canelo that keep hyping this man up because of how you guys act when you see his name. Because of Canelo Alvarez avoiding him for 6 or 7 years. Only thing that we've been saying as boxing fans is we want to see the fight. We want to see the best fight the best. Canelo Alvarez just made him, and he made you that keep defending Canelo Alvarez look worse. Every day, Canelo is looking worse and worse. You know, the funny thing is when you fans do say stuff like, what do you got to say now? See, Canelo is fighting Charlo. What do you mean, what do we have to say now? This is what he's supposed to do. We as boxing fans, we want to see the best fight the best. So what does that mean when you say, what do you got to say now? This is what he's supposed to do. But he's just not doing it. He's not doing what he's supposed to do because Canelo doesn't have the confidence of a Terence Crawford, of a JERMALL CHARLO, who's been calling out Canelo for years, of a Demetrius Andrade, of a David Benavidez, of a Dimitri Bivol, of a better BF. He doesn't have that kind of confidence. This is the reason why he cannot be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Hell, if anybody is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, certainly over Canelo, it's the fans, at least when it comes to their fantasy confidence. Because if you let them tell it with their fantasy matches, Canelo Alvarez, he has the confidence to beat everybody. He would fight everybody in the world if it were up to the fans' imagination, right? And actually, I said that wrong. It's the fans that have the confidence, the Canelo fans that have confidence in Canelo, not Canelo himself. I always ask some of these Canelo fans when I see the comments, oh man, he beat Charlo easy. He beat them all easy. And I always say to him, boy, oh boy, if you was in Canelo's shoes, you would have fought and beat them dudes long time ago, huh? Most of the time they stop responding. Canelo is 31 years old and you got Canelo fans say he can fight whoever he wants. You guys can't have it both ways, man. Either you believe this man is the best fighter in the world or you don't. You can't say he's the best fighter in the world, but then you don't want him to fight the best. If I tell you Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world, I want to see Crawford fight all of the best fighters in the world. I want Crawford to get the Spence fight. I want him to move up to 154 and fight the winner of Charlo and Castaño. When you believe that someone is the best fighter in the world, that's how you talk about them. Not, he's the best fighter in the world, but let's not put him in the ring with the best fighters because he might not beat him. You don't have confidence in him because you know deep down in your heart he ain't the best in the world. Canelo Alvarez right now is 31 years old. Do you guys know, by the time Floyd Mayweather was 30 years old, he had already beat 3 fighters at that time that were on the pound-for-pound list? Juan Manuel Marquez, the same man that knocked out Manny Pacquiao. Shane Mosley, he was on the top 10 pound-for-pound list. Ricky Hatton was on the pound-for-pound list. Diego Corrales was on the pound-for-pound list. Not to mention all of the top-notch champions that Floyd Mayweather beat. From Janir Hernandez to Castillo. So while Floyd Mayweather did all of this leading all the way up to age 31, now you have fans saying that Canelo at 31, he can fight the easiest competition he wants. It's up to him. When Floyd Mayweather was 38 years old, fans and old media were asking Floyd to move up to middleweight and fight Gennady Golovkin. They were also asking him to fight Canelo in a rematch by the time he was 40 at middleweight or even higher. So while Floyd is being asked to do this at 40 years old, meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez can fight the easiest competition he wants, no problem. How does that make any sense? Whatever happened to boxers giving the fans the fights that they want to see? Isn't that how every other sport works? Would you be sitting over here watching football if teams were telling you, we play the teams we want to play against, which always meant it was a mismatch? How is this making any sense? What they mean when they say that is as long as Canelo is getting a guaranteed win and he has no chance of losing, that's what we want to see, because we want to keep saying that the only loss he has on his record is a loss to Floyd Mayweather, which we know that ain't even really true. Because truth be told, he has losses against Golovkin. It could be argued he has losses against Golovkin and Erislandy Lara. Guys, I want you to close your eyes for a second and imagine this. Imagine there's this very talented black fighter who aspires to be the best fighter in the world, the biggest star in boxing, right? He's been chasing this one fighter in particular for years. Soon as he gets the opportunity to fight this guy happens to be way older than him, almost 40 years old. This guy happens to be way smaller than him, a good 15 to 20 pounds smaller than him. And then this black fighter, who is supposed to be the next big thing in boxing, he ends up getting dominated by this senior citizen in the ring. Then shortly after that, when this fighter is in another tough challenge, he tests positive for performance-enhancing drugs, steroids. And every time he steps up in competition, which is extremely rare, he ends up either losing or wins in controversy, to where everyone thinks that he lost the fight and he got a gift decision. So what does he do? He abandons taking on tough challenges and goes back to fighting against very weak opposition, to where he gets the wins a lot easier. Now, I want you guys to imagine me telling you guys on my channel that this is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, hands down. What would you say about me if I told you that? And what would you say about that type of fighter? That's a rhetorical question. We already know what you guys would say. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called ThE Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LOTHE.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.